Wednesday, February 15th, it's the real KNC. Ken Laird.
Chris Curtis.
I literally just got a text from my wife, Curtis, that I have to pick up on the way home butt paste. That's right, butt paste. Welcome to the new world of fatherhood.
Oh, yes.
What the fuck is butt paste?
I'm not exactly sure. I believe it's a diaper rash cream, Honest Brand, and California Baby. I've got to choose between. So this is my new life. Suddenly, dealing with Minahan every day is not becoming...
Somebody talk!
Reamer was asking AJ Perez about butt paste. Well, I want to say kudos to you. Yesterday, the news breaks. My mind, as it always does, often does, goes right to you.
Thanks. I appreciate the plug on the Twitter account.
6 to midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Swing!
That's my new sleeping schedule, by the way, 6 to midnight.
That's true.
That's literally true.
You were just having your cookie before bed. This morning, usually we say light the lamp with Laird. Mm-hmm. You fucking put a torch to the city with your scorching hot Terrian take.
Listen, I covered Terrian in Pittsburgh for many years. He was outcoached repeatedly in the playoffs.
He was not.
Yes, he was.
He was not.
And they fired him, and Dan Bosma won a cup. And this is going to spark the Canadians to a similar run. You watch.
Who can forget the Ken Laird Terrian moments in Pittsburgh?
Yeah,
that should be a book.
I mean, people are still talking about it in the office.
Sure, yeah.
Michel Terrien, you call him Michael, ripping butts in his office.
Yeah. Oh, man, he smoked like a chimney.
Really?
Oh, did he?
Oh, yeah.
Like a
great.
Young,
that's
young Christian Arcand.
The French smoke a lot, right? That's the big thing. You smoke, eat some croissants.
We got Lou and Christian leading with Bruins talk here at 10 a.m.
I got to say, I don't know whether that was grapes or Fourier at 10 a.m. here. I mean,
I think he's a dog.
We heard some scorching Bruins takes.
Slow down, Melrose.
Obviously, he's a tough guy. He's a fighter.
We basically mocked Bruins talk from, for 6 a.m. and about 9:30 today. But it was fun. It was good times.
Could never beat this friggin' team anyways. He's coaching them, and I'm supposed to be what? Oh! What? Damn!
We have a third Bruins segment today?
We had a little brief.
Yeah, 6:45.
Yeah, right before the 7 o'clock hour.
We were making fun of the Bruins news reaction from Dan Hawley.
Breaking news, Michael, you're going to love this one. The Montreal Canadiens have fired their head coach, Michel Terrien.
Yeah.
They have hired Claude Julien.
Oh, wow!
No! Yeah.
Right, we heard from Felger.
Oh!
It just dawned on me. Friday, the door is ajar.
Mm-hmm.
Jess Mutt and Kirk Friday. We mentioned a couple weeks ago about a rear.
I take a very journalistic approach to my blogging.
Ooh.
Huge Bruins week. The rear is already calling about the Butch and Sundance Kid.
No, bang on this.
Hey, bang on this.
We need Jerry in when Rear is in.
Oh, that's right.
Because of the history between the two.
I was kind of rubbing Jerry's face in it.
Rear entry, he's been called. Jerry blocked Rear on Twitter. He's very ESPN Jim Brady-like.
What happened to the thick skin? The guy who, attacks everybody all day about everything.
How about this puss Jim Brady? God,
oh, my God.
In the last hour, he has been assaulted by Kirk and Callahan listeners. Classically done. It took us 3 hours to get to it. We got to that at 9 o'clock today. Well done, as always, by Kirk and company.
Jim Brady's the public editor of ESPN, the ombudsman.
The article about social media practices
and
at
the
ESPN.
policies at ESPN.
Correct.
Sure.
He has no problem with Bomani Jones and Israel Gutierrez saying that ESPN thinks Boston's racist.
Right. And
no problem.
Zero problem.
If you call a city racist, that city is going to come back at you. I'm sorry. He goes at these eggheads with 3 followers like he is the spawn of John Dennis himself.
It's amazing because he's now doing exactly what these other cowards at ESPN have done, which is grab a person on Twitter from Boston who's mocking their coverage or mocking his behavior or his story, demean them, blame us, and tweet it. That's basically it. Mock us, demean the listener, and make it public. And what I find to be just amazing is now these people, they're not even responding to me. It used to be bullshit, I have to move, or I have a personal issue, or whatever else. Now they just don't even respond. I sent about 15 emails yesterday in text to different ESPN personalities and behind-the-scenes people. Not a single one sent a word back to me.
How upset were they when the news of the merger broke last week?
This hurts ESPN. Bigly.
Man.
Bigly!
We are a behemoth now.
Huge problem.
This company now owns all the local sports talk.
Interestingly enough, we bumped at 9 o'clock Peter King for the ESPN discussion. What were your thoughts on this? I was surprised by that. Peter King, as much as he comes on with Dale and Holly regularly, it's not like it's getting President Trump on or something like that.
And hello, Peter. How are you?
We could get Peter King on, I'm sure, at any time. You're bumping a pretty big name in the football world. What did you think of the decision to bump him, and how did it go with Peter?
It was, I was surprised that, because I hadn't heard about it until 8:40, and they mentioned that we might be bumping Peter at 9. I had spoken with Peter on Monday after the story broke, because he had the Garoppolo nugget that they were saying, what the hell does he mean here?
Johnny Garoppolo.
So it begins on Monday with MMQB, Brady Peter King interview, post Super Bowl, long form interview. And he wrote in that same MMQB story that Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to leave. So I reached out to him Monday to sort of get some context of what he was saying and asked him to come on the show. And he said, I can come on Wednesday because this second part of my 2-part sit-down with Tom Brady releases Wednesday morning. So we went back and forth yesterday. He confirmed via email again last night. So it was one of those, for me as a producer, I had the confirmation.
Yeah, you put a lot of legwork into it.
I did blow him.
He was going to come on. That wasn't a ton of legwork, but it was confirmed. And so this morning I had Perez, which I still thought was 50-50 that he was going to come on.
AJ Perez, the USA Today
web
troll.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely the web troll.
Web troll.
The web troll we had on who
we'll get to it in a moment.
doesn't hate Trump, doesn't dislike him.
No.
Are you happy that Donald Trump's the president?
Me?
Yeah.
I really don't care.
Oh, come on, AJ.
You just totally Switzerland.
I am Switzerland.
I had Peter King, who I knew was going to come on. He got an email back at 9:30 last night. I'm good to go. So it was the flip today. We had Perez on, and Peter King got bumped. I don't think it's the end of the world. I thought the 9 o'clock segment, Kirk's instincts are usually dead on, and I thought the ESPN segment was fine and probably more energetic and engaging than had we just had Peter King on.
It's not a hat I would wear.
Okay.
But I don't mind the hat if that's the hat he wants to wear. I'm a don't worry, be hatty type.
Speaking of AJ Perez, that was probably the story of the today. I thought today was a pretty good show, all told. Yesterday and today.
2 days have been very good.
2 good shows, a lot of variety. Kept it moving, a lot of different stories. But Perez at 8 o'clock, the most replayed part of this is going to be our good friend and yours, Alex Reamer. Again, the twink-on-twink crime.
I heard a little twink-on-twink crime there.
Calling AJ Perez and his sexuality out on live radio. This blows me away, actually. As much as I like Alex, this is not a good quality. I wouldn't think. I'm not a gay man, as you know.
I'm gay as a goose.
But isn't
well, you
there
are
a
shopping
code?
for butt paste.
I am shopping for butt paste, so I suppose that's a thin line. Wouldn't you say, as a gay man, you would even further respect another individual's opportunity and time and desire to when they want to make the announcement and when they want to come out?
Alex Reamer from Forbes. What don't the listeners know about you? We haven't unearthed.
Don't you know? Well, I'm gay. I'm a
man.
homosexual.
What are you doing that now for?
I would say in the gay community, also not a member of it.
That's a lie.
This would have to be the cardinal sin, right? Like, you can't go to a gay bar that is dark and closed for a reason and then walk out and say Billy, Jim, and Tom are all gay.
I guess they're not all dark and closed anymore. But
you
yeah.
know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like, if the underbelly of the gay community is you go to these places so that you're with gay men and then you leave and you're not recognized.
That is top secret information.
Reamer just is like, boom, well, as a gay guy.
You're an openly gay man who favorites all sorts of liberal stuff on Twitter, like I do. So you didn't vote for Trump, just like I didn't vote for Trump.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Well, I'm just saying.
All right. No, which is not. I'm not.
AJ Perez, who was already probably pretty nervous about the interview, is sitting there going, "Well, Nelly, you're outing me on live
Well,
radio."
he had evidence.
I don't know if AJ Perez is a homosexual, like you said.
I think it's pretty clear.
Based on what?
If you're liking DC homos,
I like DC homos.
It's a good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's actually not a bad follow. You'd be surprised. They nuanced follow.
Yes, there was. It actually began with Aaron, who our intern, who went through his timeline.
Yep.
And we're looking for evidence against Trump, and he's like, I got a lot of things on Trump, and I think he's gay. Not that it matters. It's like, okay, thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, AJ didn't want to talk politics.
You're a liberal. You're not a Republican. It's okay. It's not. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean,
No, sure. I can't talk. I can't talk about that. Sorry.
Boy, it was a painful listen, but things can be painful and entertaining at the same time. And I think important. We had some callers, and I think this spoke to a lot of people. We let journalists get away with things too frequently. Poor reporting, poor journalism, just shoddy work.
I am a journalist.
Kirk doesn't let that happen.
And you have to have more than in the interview. He said he was transcribing it like he does for a lot of our Brady interviews, and that the comments about the putting politics aside were at the end of the interview, and things got a little, he misheard it out of context.
I call bullcrap on that.
I'm not a journalist, but
you are a journalist.
If I were to be a writer for, I don't know, USA Today, kind of a clicked-on website, I would listen to my lead, the audio that I'm using in my lead, that I'm transcribing for my lead. I would listen to that a couple times in context.
Is USA Today a clicked-on website, though?
I don't know. I would assume it's probably...
Kirk's right. It is sort of hotel-centric these days.
But there are a lot of people in hotels.
It's the McDonald of newspapers. It's like...
Right, but the point is that it's not really so much that it's clicked on. The second that headline goes up on USA Today, all these other news services feed off of it.
You're right.
And it gets everywhere. Tom Brady says teammates should put politics aside. So anyway, if that's your lead, if that's what you're basing your entire write-up of this interview on, that's not a fucking excuse.
I have no excuse.
You can't say you heard it at the end of the interview. If you're basing your premise for your story on what those comments are, you have to hear those in context. So which further cements the point that he was listening to that interview not to hear Tom Brady talk, to hear Tom Brady say something politically charged.
Why does that make such a big deal? I don't understand that.
That goes along with his narrative that he's Trump's buddy and these guys that aren't going to the White House are bad.
This is the narrative.
Because Brady gives nothing. I mean, Kirk was talking about it. That that response was so boring, he basically checked out of it.
Putting politics aside, it never really was a political thing.
Brady gives them so little. The second, if this story stood and wasn't questioned by Kirk, by everybody else on Twitter, then it goes to Zirin, and Zirin's next story will be, as USA Today noted, Tom Brady said those teammates, it blows up.
I've already produced them to Gmail and authorities.
It's everywhere. So that type of callous reporting, while it might seem like a hotel, newspaper and not that clicked on, the second it's anywhere, it can be distributed to all these other outlets within, 5 minutes.
Not to mention the inherent liberal slant that the guys were trying to nail A.J. Perez down on, which he never quite admitted to, but I think we can all...
I really don't care.
Oh, come on, AJ. We all care.
AJ. Two things that we know that Tom Brady has said about Donald Trump is that it'd be nice if he were president because there'd be a putting green on the White House lawn. And so here we are today, 2 years removed from this, and Tom Brady is viewed as this outcast, this right-wing, alt-right, sympathizing psychopath.
Yeah.
Hitler! I mean, it's insanity.
Well, Monty believes it.
That doesn't work. Not to me.
And you have Chris Gasper last night on TV saying that
Breathing
this is
fire.
like Jeremiah Wright.
And when Obama had the thing with Jeremiah Wright...
Obama was the president, Chris. You idiot.
Uninformed idiot.
That's the difference. You have to respond if you're in a church with a racist nut job who you have quoted multiple times in your memoir as your spiritual leader versus Tom Brady saying he likes to play golf with Donald Trump as the quarterback of the Patriots. There's a pretty big difference.
Gasper could have written this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Probably should have. We were the only place in town you were getting this stuff, and everybody else is now coming. I guess the White House thing is new, going or not going to the White House. But you know what I mean? Like I was waiting for Gasper, Shaughnessy, Borges to be writing about this weeks ago.
Well, it's frustrating with Gasper, too, because you could, watching him with Maloney last night, he's passionate about it. He cares.
I think he's getting better. He's a young guy who's starting to get it even more and more.
But no, I think that he feels like he has to put he doesn't want to let that side out, like A.J. Perez said. He didn't want to get his ideology out there or how he feels politically. It's like, at this day and age, we all know...
But I mean, this is awesome. You're getting pissed at him. He should love this.
No, I know, and I'm saying he should do more of it. It's great. I think that column was, I think Mutt said it in the office. It gave us 2 pretty good days of shows.
Yep. So did Amani. I don't want to go double down, but I love Amani Toomer. He led. He was the final element in the Open 2 days in a row, and we spent another segment on Toomer's takes.
Tom Brady. The majority of people think that he has, jumped on the Donald Trump bandwagon.
2 excellent drops that will stand the test of time today. Here's one.
Here's making stuff up,
and here's another. The pff is I think that's going to be a good
solid answer to a question.
Yeah. Did he ever get back to you when you asked him to come on yesterday? No.
I've emailed him, and I have the program director or whatever, the guy in charge of NBC Sports Radio, and this guy Silver, and he hasn't gotten back to me either. So their show Twitter page is like 600 followers on a national show.
PhD in Twitter clapback.
OMF's tripling that.
That's true. Other segments today of note, headlines was a freaking disaster today. What the hell happened? Not to mention it went like way too long for being a bad segment. That was probably our worst segment.
My fault.
We started discussing where to live in Boston. It was.
If you're younger, if you're Alex's age, and you are trolling for ass, living in Alston, Brighton is a great area to live.
Well, what's frustrating is I thought of this at about 9:10.
Yeah, it's a good idea you had. You're talking about something else.
2 things. Well, one is that next time we're in that situation, I should just read the headlines that I have Kirk say, no, get angry, and then get into something else. Because that would be a quick, thing where he can sort of mock me on the air and then be done with, the idiocy, not try and force
public
something.
sacrifice of Curtis, at least if nothing else.
It's worked in the past, and I'm about to get embarrassed. No, and the other thing is I remembered this Lupica story at 9 today that I looked at yesterday, which pissed me off, would have been a good headline, I
Lupica
think.
story?
Lupica, the people at sports reporters are blaming Mike Lupica for ending the show because he was such a diva and treated people like crap.
Oh, that is juicy.
So that would have been a pretty good headline.
Good gossip.
But I forgot about it. So
Well,
headlines today is on me. It'll be better tomorrow.
We did a segment on Tom Brady's desire to be an ambassador for change.
Hopefully I can be a real ambassador for change.
That was at 6:30 today. Kirk didn't want to do it. It was one of those segments he knew he could get 10, 15 minutes out of. They did it well, but it was pulling teeth for him. His heart was not quite in it.
I take up a call.
You want a couple calls here? John in Orlando on
topic. No. Well, Kirk actually during the break came in and he said, "I want to do more Ontarian." Mutt doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Right, true.
And Reamer doesn't know anything about hockey, so we're going to have to do this. So, he was a team player in that regard.
We also had a Felger on Podcasts segment today.
Says, if you're a media person out there who does a podcast, please don't get your panties in a bunch.
You can just say Kirk Minahan. I mean, it's not going to kill you, Felger. We say your name all the time.
I think it actually would kill Felger.
Probably right, Kirk.
Well, it's funny, too, is I noticed this last night. I meant to say this to Kirk.
What was he wearing last night, too,
I don't
Felger?
know.
He's got, he wears the sweater with the sport coat. He looks very stiff.
Yeah, he is stiff.
And then he sits there. Kirk's right. He's got that.
It's like the hostage cam. And they have, whenever Kirk's on, it's just Tangway and Felger.
Yeah.
But when it's other people, Felger talks to them. They interact. Last night, Gasper and Felger had this hot Bruins take rant.
Chemistry, yeah.
Why? So Felger only talks to people that aren't Kirk Minahan? I feel like that would be a more watched segment if Minahan and Felger went at it.
All right, we also got a lot of heat for our podcast effort yesterday. Was it fair? You and I discussed this. I had to leave. I had to get out of here, so I couldn't do the... how bad was it? You listened to it. You're an objective... well, you're not objective, but...
I'm not objective, but I would say, compared to my alternatives at the time of day that I listened to it, I thought it was the best choice.
Good. That's good. Now, as Kirk said, that's damning with faint praise. It's us against the Dork podcast.
It's the Dork podcast. But I'm not even just saying podcast. Anything you could listen to at that time. I thought it was better quality.
Okay. I think others disagreed. We got a few tweets as well that it was a subpar performance.
Yep. I don't like to pay attention to the haters.
When they go low, you go high.
I don't go Jim Brady on them. I like to just let them, speak their piece, but people do like the drops.
Well, the audio drops are ear candy. I mean, I've said that from the beginning. People mocked me at first. They were like, oh, too busy. I can't listen to this thing. Now people can't do without it,
Mutt mocked you, and now he's sitting craving those things. Oh, by the way, what's with the airborne he's in here for 3 straight days, and all of a sudden he thinks he's, John Dennis walking around the building.
And yes, I completely believe that the airborne will make me not sick.
Have you ever had airborne? I don't know if that works.
No, I've never tried that.
I mean, seems crazy. What's on Indian soap operas today? Anything good?
Abhi Kibar, Trump, Sarkar.
It's always very dramatic. They've got flashbacks to medieval times. There's people with swords and turbans, and it's very intense to me.
Is that good for the baby? I thought you said the baby was going no technology.
Yeah, but we're not starting that yet because babies can't see, I'm told. They can hear, though. I don't know. It can be distracting, so maybe we should.
So Maya will be listening to this today.
Yes, she will be.
Good.
She will be. Get her take on it.
Get her take on the butt paste segment.
On the butt. All right, anything else? There's a little bit of a little concern about Meter tomorrow.
Indoors, 72 degrees.
Meter's my guy, but he was in last Tuesday, and just kind of a consensus it was a lull show.
Well, we had high hopes for Meter on Tuesday because it was following the Matt Ryan performance. He was our first co-host following the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's our channel to West Durham, the Atlanta play-by-play guy.
You nailed it. And he was very active on Twitter on Super Bowl Sunday in the first half, ripping fans from New England.
Don't spoil it. I haven't watched yet.
Oh, sorry. In some part of the game, the Falcons may or may not have had a lead.
Oh.
But at the end of the game, things may have changed, and we were looking forward to having him in, sort of have the callers mock him a little bit, but he wasn't really in a playful mood. So,
not in a playful mood.
He was just not negative. He just was kind of there. He was kind of like Pete Shepard without the bombastic nature. It was just sort of.
I'm not fighting for anything.
I actually think Pete might be better tomorrow with the Bruins talk, but we can't cancel Meter. He's the old shoe you can't return.
Bruins stock will be kind of done, though, by tomorrow, because they don't play. Canadians don't play till Saturday.
That's true.
I'm not sure we'll have an advancement of that story. Julian might talk, I guess. Maybe they'll introduce him.
Ooh, but that will be in French, right? Because all the Canadians...
Half in French. Always half in French, yeah.
And is your wife a Canadians fan? Because she's from Montreal.
Yeah, her family, I mean...
So this must have rattled the Laird house.
I wouldn't say that. They're
Bigger
not
fish to fry right now?
They're not like huge sports fans.
Right.
They're Canadians fans because they're from Montreal. They have to be, sort of. But they're, I have some of the associate members of the family that are big Habs fans, but not like her immediate family so much. So it didn't rock the household, but it was notable. Hey, they just came out with new bagels at St. Viator up there, so it was a bad, timing of the news dump, the press conference. I mean, I was offended. Frankly,
I was waiting for somebody to be pissed that Julian got hired on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that too. Drive time.
I was listening live to our reaction to it, and man, Keith and Holly,
it's great, sincere.
It was insanity.
That is insane. The team.
All right. See you tomorrow. I guess.
Well, good luck with the butt paste.
It's hard on your butt.
This is a
thanks.
big day. Where, is that at CVS? Is that where that's sold?
Good question. Next
I
question.
wouldn't Google butt paste.
Find a pharmacy somewhere and ask the clerk. That's going to be an awkward question. Ask the guy at the counter. How do we end this thing?
I think we'll just say good weekend.
See ya.